Legend of Mulan. The Legend of Mulan tells the story of Hua Mulan, a heroine who joined the army in place of her father. It is a household story in China, which tells the tale of Hua Mulan, who disguised herself as a man and joined the army for her father. The Ballad of Mulan, an old folk song in northern China narrating Mulan's deeds, is a masterpiece known by all Chinese. In 1998, Mulan, a cartoon movie produced by Disney, was released around the world at the same time. Familiarizing more people in the world with Hua Mulan and her legendary life. Historical records show that the state of Northern Wei had conquered all the neighboring forces one after another since the beginning of the 5th century, and gradually unified the north of China. People were expecting a settled and secure life now that the war and chaos had come to an end. Unfortunately, a nomadic tribe from the north called Rouran broke their dream of peace by constantly invading their land and disturbing their lives. Faced with the crisis of war, the Northern Wei government issued an order that every household should send a man to the front line. As a hereditary military household, Hua Mulan's family was no exception. When the conscription order came, Mulan saw her father's name on the list. However, Mulan's father was too old to go to the battlefield, and her younger brother was too young to be the substitute. What should she do? At this point, Mulan decided to take her father's place, and so began her 12 years military life. Fighting in the frontier war was a tough task for a lot of men. Not to mention Mulan, who had to conceal her identity and fight against the enemy with her fellow soldiers. Nevertheless, Hua Mulan fulfilled her mission and returned home 12 years later. The emperor offered an official position to Mulan as a reward of her feat, but Mulan declined. In the Tang Dynasty, Hua Mulan was posthumously awarded as General of Filial Piety and Heroicness. Later, all the feudal dynasties spared no efforts in praising her filial piety, believing it was her love for her father that gave her the courage to join the army. Over the past century, she has become a great example for Chinese women to defend their native land and to fight for self-supporting and self-respect. The legend of Hua Mulan has given inspiration to many folk operas, such as Beijing opera, Henan opera, Shanxi tune, Cantonese opera, and Ping opera. Among which Henan opera, a local opera in Henan province where Mulan was born, presents a particularly classic version of Hua Mulan that enjoys a good and lasting repute. In the episode, Mulan joins the army. Mulan is on her journey to the battlefield. Talking with her fellow soldiers, Mulan finds that they are quite contemptuous of women, and she cannot help but argue with them in favor of women. Thus the famous "Who dares say women are inferior to men?" an aria which is almost known by all in China. In 2008, the legend of Mulan was added to the list of China's national intangible cultural heritage.